Hey everybody, I'm Grant Hires, and welcome back to Hardtek Studios. Now we've already been through several different types of synths, drum machines, groove boxes, and the sort, but sometimes you need just a little something extra, just a little bit, and that's where processors come in. With an effects processor, you can plug your synth, your drum machine, your guitar, your freaking noise box, whatever you have, and turn it into something just a little sweeter or completely different. And that's what we're going through today, is my effects processors. Let's start out simple. We're going to start out with my guitar pedals. Though I do have guitars, I rarely use them in my music. So my guitar pedals are mainly for my synths and drum machines and such. Now first up is the Boss Hyper Fuzz, the FZ2. And this is a really great aggressive fuzz box while keeping a very clean, non-gritty, noisy signal. It can do a lot of different types of sounds. It has 3 different settings, Fuzz 1, Fuzz 2, and Boost. And all 3 of those sounds are just completely different. Plus you got level, tone, and gain and such. This pedal can take a completely clean triangle wave and turn it into like a very aggressive synthy saw wave. Or it can take some nice clean crispy drums and just really brutalize them without leaving a whole bunch of harmonic residue, I guess. A great pedal. I really love it with acid bass. Next up is the Digitech Weapon. I think it's Dan Donegan's pedal from Disturbed. And the main reason I bought this pedal is it has a sitar simulator on it. It's got plenty of different types of distortions. It's a multi-effect pedal. Right here you have a type knob, and each one of those 7 settings is a completely different effects combination. We got 1 is distortion, 2 is distortion, 3 is a phaser, 4 is a wah with distortion, 5 is a pitch shifter, 6 is a sitar simulator, and 7 is another distortion. So 3 completely different types of distortion, a sitar simulator, and some other stuff. Distortions sound pretty good, nothing really amazing. It's mainly about the sitar simulator, which with an acoustic or a clean electric guitar, it can kind of sound like a sitar. With the bass, it sounds weird. With synths, it just adds all kinds of weird, smooth, harmonic overtones. And with the drum machine, it just gets freaky. Now, I would like to have a moment of silence for the DoD Death Metal Distortion. That was long enough. Okay. This was, it just recently crapped out on me. I'm very upset. This is probably the best distortion pedal I've ever had. The DoD Death Metal Distortion. Digitech remade it and have already discontinued it. But it did some of the greatest stuff, and it always had harmonic residue and all kinds of feedbacky sounds and really loud noise. But that's okay because it really crushed signals. Just brutalized them and turned wimpy, tiny little weak signals into something just completely brutal. I'm still looking for another one of these. I'm going to get one. And when I do, you're going to see a lot more of it on the channel. But until I do, DoD Death Metal Distortion. Goodbye. Next up is something that I've been playing with a lot recently on the channel. The Moge Mogra MF Drive. Really cool pedal. I actually bought this to not replace, but add more distortion to my pedal collection since I lost a DoD Death Metal Distortion. And it sounds nothing like it. It's nowhere near as aggressive, but it can still do some really cool stuff. It's got gain knobs so you can get just a little bit of drive or complete total crunch. The output knob, that's obvious. Tone knob that gives you a really bassy, kind of muddy to very thin and crispy. And then a resonant filter knob. You don't have a complete different resonance knob, but you do get this switch to crank up the peak to, if this was a Moog synth, I would say the peak adds a 30% resonance boost. For those familiar with a Moog filter pedal. But this is the Moog ladder filter. So yeah, great pedal. I plan on probably picking up 1 or 2 more of these. Not this one, but maybe like the delay in the chorus. So keep on watching my channel and maybe I'll be able to buy one. And for my last foot pedal, which the only thing that makes this processor foot pedal is it has foot switches. The Line 6 filter modeler. This thing just has all kinds of weirdness in it. It's nothing but weirdness. It's got 16 different patches right here. About half of them are some kind of filter modeler. The other half are synth modelers. The synths are triggered by your audio signal and kinda track your pitch. Kinda. That's a big kinda. Especially with the type of sounds I make. So really they're good for glitchy, non-predictive, spontaneous sounds to be popping up here and there while you're doing your own thing, which is really helped out by this mix knob. That way you can just kind of give it a little bit of the dirty, synthy, glitchy signal, or just make it nothing but. It sounds very, very digital. There's no, oh, that sounds just like a Moog filter or MS-20 filter. Definitely not. It sounds very digital. It's its own beast. You got a frequency knob, a Q knob, a speed knob, a mode knob, or synth pitch knob, and the mix knob. Plus these 4 pedal or switches give you memories. In addition, it's got some good outputs and inputs. Stereo input, stereo output, and an expression pedal input. Now on to some slightly more complex effects. Now here we have a studio staple, the Koss Pad by Koss. I have the Koss Pad 3. Hello. And it can do some really cool stuff. It's added lots of cool features. And after seeing all the fun everybody had with 1 and the 2, and for a while the 3, I finally decided to pick 1 up. It's a lot of fun. It's very, very useful. Has very, very, very nice effects, especially considering what you get for the price. And also has a basic sampler. I say basic, but it's actually got some pretty high-end features for just 4 pads at a time. So definitely a good deal, especially if you can find it used for a good price and it's not all screwy or messed up. Great studio staple, has all kinds of stuff you can need, and it can be performed with the XY pad, which is great. Now it's time to pull all of you off the tripod and look at some rack mounted effects. Alright, let's check out this guy. It is a Ramona Reverb. It is an actual spring reverb unit inside that metal casing. And to tune that spring reverb, you have all kinds of cool analog modular controls. Of course, we have gain, an analog 2-band equalizer, analog voltage control filter. It is a 12 decibel filter, so it doesn't get super awesome. It also has an analog amplifier and analog envelope generator controls, which is for the analog amplifier and the filter. But with that repeat knob right there, you could actually turn it into your very own LFO. With the attack and decay knobs, can make your own shapes, which is really cool. And that button right there is crash, just so you can make a little splatty sound. Really cool piece. It is unfortunately not functioning properly, so I haven't been able to do any cool videos with it. On the back, it actually has voltage control inputs and outputs, and gate in and outs. And here we have the Moge Mogra pedals. These are really great pedals. They can be rack mounted or put on the floor or put on the tabletop and just really jam out with them in those great big fat smooth buttery knobs. They are the big brother to the mini Foger that I showed you previously. First of all, we have the Moge Freak Box, which is a Moog oscillator section. It has frequency controls, waveform, envelope amount, FM amount, and mix, in addition to drive and output level. It can do some really cool stuff. You plug something into it, and with sync off, it simply triggers an oscillator. You can use control voltage to pitch that oscillator, or plug in an expression pedal to pitch the oscillator. Or you could turn sync on and let the oscillator follow the frequency of your input. So all together, with all the inputs and outputs and all those knobs, you can get some really great sounds of all kinds of flavors and frequencies. Next up is the Moge Mogra Murph. This one's kind of hard to explain. It has 8 individual bandpass filters right here, each one tuned to a specific frequency. Sorry that it's not focusing for us. And what it does, it has a little sequencer in there that sequences the volume positioning of each one of those bandpass filters. If they are all the way down, like this, that frequency just does not come through, it cuts it out. When they're all the way up, like that, that frequency fully passes through. But that frequency only plays when the sequencer tells it to. And here are different patterns for you to play. So yeah, it can be a really, really interesting pedal, really great with rhythmic material, especially drum machines and sequence synths. And lastly, we have the ring modulator. Now this one has a standard ring modulator with its own oscillator for it to modulate, or you can actually provide your own oscillator in the back with all those jacks. Now just with the normal oscillators built in, controlled by that frequency knob right there, you can get some pretty crazy tones, mainly metallic and belly quality, but you start throwing in your own inputs as opposed to the built-in oscillator, and things get really, really freaky. But if you want to stick to the built-in oscillator, you have an LFO with a mount, rate, and 2 different waveforms to really, really twist up your sound, in addition to a drive knob. And here we have the Alesis Mod Effects Bitterman. It came from a line of effects processors called Mod Effects. I believe there were 6 of them, maybe 7, I can't remember. Each one was tuned to a specific job, like filtering, or vocoding, or phasing, or flanging. And each one had their own unique personality, but they all had a very, very specific tone. This one is the Bitterman, and it is just for mangling. You have 4 effects here: a compressor, a distortion, a dual phaser giving you 180-degree phase difference on the left and right channel, and a bitterness knob, which could be your selection of comb, decimator, bit reducer, FM, ring mod, or frequency shift. And then over here, you could configure the order in which each one goes. So altogether, if you wanted something to get really, really crispy nasty, this was the box to go. Well, that's about it for my effects processors. So this is going to be the final individual studio tour focusing on one thing. The next and last studio tour video is going to give you a full tour of my entire studio section over here. That way you can see it in its full glory, all put together and making all kinds of blinky fun noise. So until I see you then, keep making noise.